Hello and welcome. Let's just take a moment to settle in together. If it helps, lower the brightness of your screen and let the quiet of the room become a soft companion. We'll move slowly tonight with simple words and gentle images so you can drift off whenever you wish. You can rest your hands where they feel at ease. Notice the places where the body meets the bed or chair. Let a slow breath rise and then allow the exhale to lengthen like a soft tide moving out across a quiet shore. We see how even one steady breath can ease your mind. You might imagine a small lamp in the distance, warm and calm. This is a peaceful documentary story. It will unfold like water moving in smooth circles. This story is not about loss, but about transformation. We trace a legend's arc the way the moon draws the sea. Scholars once believed such tales were lessons in balance, the kind that settle the spirit. Tonight, the calm glow of canals will guide us, the soft breath of the tides will carry us, and when the city grows quiet, we'll feel the city exhaling like quiet water, releasing us into rest. If it feels good, take another breath in and then let it soften out. You notice your jaw. Let it loosen. Notice your shoulders. Let them drop a little. We see the mind begin to slow, like silt settling in clear water. You might imagine distant chimes, gentle as wind against glass. As we begin, know you are safe, you are welcome, and you can drift at any point. The ocean hum is steady. The night is kind. We begin in early light. The horizon is a pale ribbon, and the day opens with grace. We see white stone homes near glowing canals, their edges rounded by time and salt air. You might imagine the faint warmth of the first sun across smooth steps and open doorways. The water holds a soft gold, as if the morning itself rests there. People wake with easy movements. A clay cup meets a cool basin. Hands wash, bread breaks. A few words are shared, unhurried and kind. Steam rises from a small pot carrying herbs and the promise of a simple meal. We see faces relaxed from sleep. You might imagine the hush of a community that trusts the day. Along the canals, boats sit quiet and ready. Oars rest against their seats. A heron watches, still as a thought. When a boat moves, it moves like breath, smooth, light, no splash, only a soft ripple that returns to stillness almost at once. The calm glow of the canals is a constant, a gentle thread we'll keep returning to, like a lullaby you already know. Streets lead to gardens, and gardens open into wider courtyards where fruit and herbs send their calm scent into the air. We see leaves turn slightly as the first breeze arrives, not to shake, only to greet. Bees drift from flower to flower, their path unhurried. You might imagine the quiet weight of a peach in the palm, cool and fragrant. Art and craft live in the morning here. A smooth stone is shaped, the hand patient and sure. A cloth is rinsed in clear water and hung in the mild light. The canal reflects the lintel of a doorway, the curve of an arch, and a child's gentle wave to a passing friend. We see the city exhaling like quiet water after each small task is done. You might imagine that the work itself is the rest, that care is the rhythm and peace is the result. At the open temple court, soft steps cross warm stone. The air carries the low murmur of a few voices, greetings more than prayers, though both sound like kindness. A bronze bowl shines. The sun is not high yet, and its angle makes tiny constellations on polished surfaces. Teachers set out simple charts, stars, seasons, tides. We see a hand trace a line from horizon to zenith, slow and sure. You might imagine the comfort of patterns that return. By the water, children dip a toe and giggle, Then settle, listening to a storyteller point to a canal and say, "The tide is a breath, and today it is still drawing in." The words are soft and clear. The meaning lands like a feather on the mind. The calm glow of the canals seems to say yes. Work begins without hurry. A basket finds its way to a boat. A potter presses a thumbprint into a handle, a small promise of grip and care. A gardener kneels, pressing soil around a plant that has made it through the night, steady and green. We see kindness shared in small acts, a jug lifted to meet another's thirst, a shawl placed over shoulders before the breeze arrives. You might imagine the quiet joy of being useful. Take a slow breath in here and let it soften out. If you like, picture sunlight on gently moving water. Notice how the shoulders can drop a little more, how the exhale can be long and easy, like a canal returning to stillness after a boat passes. Along a shaded path, elders walk and nod to each other with bright eyes. They carry stories the way the canal carries light. One pauses to listen to a small question. How do we know when the tide will turn? The answer is simple. We watch, we learn, we share, and the watching itself is peace. We see the child accept this, already held by the rhythm of the place. You might imagine the comfort of knowing that time is a friendly companion. As the sun rises higher, the city breathes in a little more color. Blue deepens, stone warms, and the scent of fresh bread drifts across the water. A thin bell sounds somewhere far but clear, not an order, more a greeting to the hour. The sound rings once, then fades like a wave that knows how to return. The calm glow of the canals brightens for a moment, then settles back, as if answering. A woman stands at a doorway with a bowl of water. She pours a little out and the stream catches the light before it meets the canal in a soft circle that widens and disappears. We see this gesture as ordinary and holy at once. You might imagine the way simple acts become rituals when done with care. Across a small bridge, a friend pauses, hand on the smooth stone rail. The view is everyday and perfect. Boats, light, faces, leaves, the easy line where water meets wall. The city, exhaling like quiet water, is alive here, in the patience of the moment, in the trust that follows a long, slow breath. If your eyes feel heavy, that's welcome. You can rest them. The story will keep moving like the canal moves, steady and kind. You might imagine we are walking beside the water, not to arrive anywhere, only to be near it. As the morning widens, shade pulls back, and warmth rests on the stones. We see calm work continue, but lighter now, as if the city itself has found its rhythm. A basket returns empty. A jug returns full. A laugh carries across the water and lands like a soft pebble that makes quiet rings. You might imagine that this is what the Golden Age feels like. Not a grand moment, but a gentle one. Not noise, but balanced sound. Not hurry, but the simple flow of care. The calm glow of the canals remains, a faithful guide. The soft breath of the tides is there too, at the edge of hearing, steady as your exhale. And as the hour turns, we let the image linger. Light on water, kind faces, and the city, always exhaling like quiet water. As the morning settles into its gentle stride, we arrive at the open courts of the temples, where shade lies in soft rectangles upon warm stone. We see quiet steps glide across smooth floors, sandals whispering. You might imagine a mild breeze passing through the colonnade, carrying the scent of herbs from gardens nearby. Voices are low and even, not to persuade, but to share. Teachers unfold simple charts, inked with clean lines that show stars, seasons, and the turning of tides. A finger follows a path from one point of light to another, and the movement itself feels like breathing. Steady, sure, patient. We see calm teachers bent over child-height tables. You might imagine simple chalk dust on their hands, harmless as flour. A bowl of polished pebbles waits to be counted, then returned, like waves that come and go. A bronze vessel rests in the center court, catching the sun and casting small ripples of light onto a nearby wall. The light looks like water, even where there is no water, and it soothes the eye. We see a student pause, then smile, as if the pattern has spoken. You might imagine that smile as a lantern that needs no flame. The calm glow of the canals lives here too, held in the metal, bright and kind. Lessons move with the rhythm of the day. A chart of the moon is lifted, its phases marked like soft footfalls across time. The teacher says, "The tide is a breath, and we honor it by listening." We see heads nod, not out of duty, but because the body already knows. You might imagine your own breath matching that message, in and soft out, like a shoreline that never hurries. In a shaded room, healers arrange jars of leaves and roots. The air carries cool notes, mint, willow, chamomile, each with a purpose that is quiet and good. Hands measure with care. A mortar turns seeds into a fine scent that rises and settles again. We see water poured, a swirl with a wooden spoon, and then a patient wait. You might imagine the warmth of a cup held between palms, steam lifting like a prayer without words. A gentle cue forms, not out of need alone, but for connection. A healer's voice moves slowly, reminding the body how to soften. We see shoulders letting go, brows smoothing. You might imagine a hand resting on your own, light as a falling leaf, steady as a calm tide. The city is exhaling like quiet water here, with every small kindness, with each shared gaze that says, "You are seen." Artisans work in calm corners, shaping stone, wood, and clay. A sculptor sands the edge of a simple bowl until it feels like river-worn marble. We see the craftsman pause, check the curve with the eye, then the palm, then the eye again. You might imagine a rhythm in the scrape, gentle even, never sharp. The bowl will carry water, the hands will remember its balance. Both are part of care. A weaver lifts the warp with soft fingers and draws the weft through in unbroken lines. Threads meet and hold. We see a pattern grow like sunrise, one calm band after another. You might imagine the sound the loom makes, a hush, a tap, a hush, a tap, sounds that welcome sleep when the day is done. Here, knowledge is not stored in scrolls alone. It is woven into cloth, pressed into clay, passed hand to hand. At the edge of the court, a simple pool mirrors the sky. A teacher kneels and draws a circle on the surface with one fingertip. Rings widen and fade. We see the lesson without hearing it. What we do travels outward, then returns, softer, kinder. You might imagine the canal receiving such rings all day, the city listening without effort and answering with ease. Take a slow breath in now and let the exhale lengthen as if it has more time than it needs. We see the body accept that space. Jaw unclenches, shoulders rest. You might imagine the chart of the stars above you, not distant but close, a gentle map that asks nothing and offers a direction anyway. In the herb court, a young apprentice gathers dew from broad leaves with a small cloth, because dew is the tender water of morning, and tender water has its uses. We see the cloth grow darker with each touch, then lighten as the drops are squeezed into a waiting bowl. You might imagine the sound of a single drop meeting its siblings, barely there, yet complete. Along a portico, stone pillars hold up a sky of shadow so the day can move in comfort. A reader speaks a line about balance, clear and slow. The words are simple. Keep what you need, share what you can. Let the tide teach you when to hold and when to release. We see the listeners receive this with a calm that looks like rest. You might imagine the way such lines lodge gently in the mind, like shells in sand, found later, still lovely. Before we leave the court, a bell sounds once. The note is round and soft. It carries across water, along paths and under doorways. Then it fades. We see a brief stillness settle, the good kind, where nothing is asked and everything is allowed to be. You might imagine that note resting in your chest, a small circle of ease that widens with your next breath. And as the morning leans toward midday, knowledge, craft, and care move together like three calm threads. The calm glow of the canals is nearby, steady as ever. The soft breath of the tides is in every lesson, every sip, every gentle touch. We see teachers roll their charts, healers close their jars, artisans smooth the last edge. You might imagine the city exhaling like quiet water, ready for whatever the day offers next. Evening draws its soft line across the water, and lamps bloom along the canals like warm pearls. We see doors open to the gentle air. You might imagine a thin thread of music drifting from a doorway, easy and low, the kind that settles the breath without asking. The day's work folds itself away, and quiet fills the spaces it leaves. Families gather with simple bowls and shared bread. The steam from a pot carries herbs that feel like comfort. We see hands pass dishes without hurry, each gesture small and kind. You might imagine the way a spoon rests on a clay rim, a tiny click that sounds like trust. Laughter comes in a low ripple and fades, the canal answering with a faint shine. On a low step, an elder begins a song, just a few notes, gentle and round. Others join, not to perform, but to remember. The melody is a path everyone knows. We see faces soften, shoulders release. You might imagine the way your own body meets that rhythm and loosens a little more with each line. The calm glow of the canals keeps time, a steady light at the edge of the eye. Children lean against warm stone and listen to a story that travels no farther than it needs. The tale curls like smoke. A fisher who learned to read the tide simply by watching. A gardener who knew when to water by tasting the air. We see small eyes grow heavy, not from weight, but from ease. You might imagine a gentle yawn shared like a secret. Moonlight lifts itself onto the water, and fish turn like silver leaves below the surface. A heron steps along the edge, careful and untroubled. We see the city exhaling like quiet water, each house a lung that breathes in calm and gives calm back. You might imagine how the street accepts sandal steps without echo, as if sound chooses to rest. Across a narrow bridge, neighbors trade a few soft notes on a flute and a stringed reed. The tune drifts, then settles into silence as easily as a feather finding still air. We see a lantern sway once, then hold steady. You might imagine the light touching the underside of leaves, small coins of gold that appear and fade with the breeze. A doorframe holds two figures in quiet talk, their words short, their pauses long. They speak of weather and plantings, of a pot repaired, of a child's new word. We see care pass between them with no weight. You might imagine each pause as a pool that invites the mind to sit for a while and then move on without a ripple. Inside, warm coals wait behind a small screen. A kettle hums, not a whistle, only a note that suggests tea might be ready. We see a hand lift the lid, then set it back with respect for the sound. You might imagine steam rising like a blessing that has no need to be named. The soft breath of the tides lingers at the threshold, almost part of the room. Along the quay, gentle patrols pass with friendly nods. No armor clinks, no orders call. We see sandals whisper across stone. You might imagine how safe it feels when the night itself is a friend, when watchfulness is simply attention shared. The calm glow of the canals draws a path for the eyes to follow, an easy line toward rest. A child's scarf is straightened, a window is closed halfway against the night breeze, and the lock touches the latch with a sound like a small bell. We see a hand pause at the sill, fingers feeling the cool of stone that held heat all day. You might imagine your own hand there, and the way the body knows when enough warmth has been gathered. Take a slow breath in and let the exhale lengthen, like sand settling at the bottom of a clear pool. We see the spine soften, the jaw loosen. You might imagine that your breath is another canal in the night, smooth, steady, with light resting upon it. The city's rhythm becomes your own. Elders finish their stories with one line that feels like a closing door. Keep what is needed, release what is not, and listen to the tide. We see heads bow a little, more in agreement than in sleep, though sleep is near. You might imagine a blanket laid across your legs by a caring hand you trust. On the outer steps, two friends hum a final phrase and let it go. The note hangs in the air, then thins, then disappears into the soft breath of the tides moving through the alleys of water. We see no rush to stand, no urge to fill the quiet. You might imagine quiet itself as company. When the lamps are lowered, their glow lingers on the surface of the canals, then gathers into the moon's path and begins to fade. We see doorways grow gentle and dark. You might imagine the night as a room with many beds and one warm quilt of air drawn up to the chin of the city. The city exhaling like quiet water is the last sound, and it is not a sound at all, but a feeling that everything is allowed to rest. We pause here, in the space between notes, and we listen. We see the ocean hum at a distance, a low cradle of sound. You might imagine that hum as a soft veil laid over the room. Shoulders ease, hands grow warm where they rest. Breath moves in, then out, like a tide that has learned your timing and follows it. Far off, a single chime touches the air and melts. We see the ring widen and vanish. Nothing is asked of it. You might imagine the way your jaw can slacken in small steps, as if tiny knots release one by one. The calm glow of the canals remains in the mind, a gentle lamp that needs no tending. Let your inhale arrive. Let your exhale fall longer, as though it had found a smooth slope toward stillness. We see the room accept your quiet. You might imagine sound moving across water in slow circles, each one lighter than the last. The soft breath of the tides brushes the edges of thought and carries them away like small shells returning to sand. We rest in this hush together. We see how silence can be full and kind. You might imagine night air drifting through a screen, cool and clean, the exact right weight. If you feel sleep rise, follow it the way a boat follows a current it trusts. The city, the sea, and your breath move as one, exhaling like quiet water. Morning returns with a softer blue, as if the sky has learned our pace. We see the canals hold their light a little longer before handing it to the day. You might imagine the water standing at the steps, calm and patient, as if listening. Boats that rested through the night sit with an easy tilt, a finger's width higher than they did before. No one rushes to measure. The mind measures with the eye, and the eye is kind. At the quay, a rope hangs slack from a ring set in stone. We see the rope touch the water, then lift, not from tug or wind, but from the slow breath of the tide. You might imagine a sleeping chest rise, then settle, so gently it would not wake a child. A basket is set down. A hand rests on the rail. The calm glow of the canals keeps steady company, a quiet light that says, "We're here." Along a shaded wall, a small mark shows where yesterday's waterline paused. We see today's mark, a thumb above it, not a warning, only a note. You might imagine a teacher's small dot on a chart, here and now here. Observers make a few lines in little books, not to prove, but to remember. Scholars once believed change itself could be a lesson in patience, and this morning agrees. A fisher tests the depth with a pole. It meets the bed with a soft tap, slightly sooner than habit expects. We see the fisher smile at this new rhythm and lean the pole against the boat again. You might imagine the pole as a clock that keeps tidal time, its hands made of water and moonlight. The soft breath of the tides moves under every plank and step, unhurried, sure. Pathways are dry where feet move, damp where stone kisses water. We see the damp line widen by a palm, then slow. You might imagine a brush painting a wash of color, light, then a shade deeper, then it stops by itself. A child places a reed boat at the edge and watches it float, then return, then float again. The game becomes a calm study, and the child learns without trying. Take a breath in and let it fall long, like the canal finding its level. We see shoulders lower by a quiet inch. You might imagine the breath as a tide, visiting, leaving, and promising to come back. At a doorstep, two neighbors speak in soft tones about the night's rest, the fish seen turning silver near the bridge, and this slight, lovely rise in water. We hear that word again. Lovely. Not worry, not even surprise, only wonder that sits well. In the herb court, dew beads along stone where shade lingers. We see the sun lean across the rooftops, touch the canal, and make a thin, bright line. You might imagine how the eye follows that line like a finger tracing a map. The line widens, and with it, a sense that morning is stretching. Boats move one and two, oars dipping as if bowing to the water's new height. Elders pause at the small chart by the temple door. A new dot appears, placed with care, the ink drying to a soft brown. We see how lightly the hand presses the page, as if not to disturb the day. You might imagine the chart as a gentle conversation. We ask, the sea answers, and we listen. The calm glow of the canals holds the scene like a frame, warm and sure. Across the city, steps that met water at the third stone now meet it at the second. We see a baker look out and nod, then return to bread with an easy mind. You might imagine how the scent of warm crust and clean water can live together and feel like balance. A potter lifts a pitcher to the canal, fills it without bending as far, and smiles at the body's small relief. Under a fig tree, a teacher says the tides rise and fall in a curve, like a long, slow bow to the shore. We see children draw that curve in the dust, then smooth it with their palms. You might imagine the way dust clings to skin and then lets go, a tiny echo of the tide's lesson. Scholars once believed such simple acts tune the mind to the world's gentle measures. A heron steps to a higher stone and stands, untroubled by the change. We see its calm eye, bright and steady. You might imagine yourself as that gaze, watching without hurry, taking in what is here. A thin bell sounds again, one round note. It reaches the water and returns softer, like a greeting whispered twice. Another breath in, another long exhale, softer than before. We see the body agree. You might imagine your breath sketching a small tide mark inside the chest. The soft breath of the tides moves through the city, through you, and through the quiet line of this day. By noon, the water rests a little higher than memory, and then pauses. We see the pause as a gentle hand on the shoulder. You might imagine how every rise has its still point, and every still point prepares a tender fall. The city accepts this without story. The calm glow of the canals endures, carrying light for anyone who looks. We see the note in the little books, a finger's width more, and very peaceful. You might imagine your own note, made only in thought. Here I rest, and the water rests with me. Evening returns with a clarity that feels kind, and the sky opens like a calm book. We see the first stars gather above the quiet roofs, each one a soft pin of light. You might imagine them as lamps placed carefully on a high shelf, steady and gentle. The canals hold the reflections without a ripple, as if not to disturb a single point. On the steps by the water, a small group spreads a cloth and sets out simple charts. Lines mark constellations with patient strokes. We see a calm hand lift a reed stylus and trace from one star to the next. You might imagine the tip hovering, then landing, the way a breath meets the moment before it becomes sound. Teachers speak in low voices, more like a lullaby than a lesson. They note that the stars lift and slide through the night, not with drama, but with tender certainty. We see a finger trace that drift, a slow arc that reassures rather than warns. You might imagine your own breath following the curve, in, up, and out, down. A child tilts their head and smiles, seeing a pattern that feels familiar in the chest, though new to the eye. From the stone beneath our feet comes a faint whisper, like a bowl touched by a fingertip. We see a cup on the cloth ring once, a tiny note, clear and harmless. You might imagine a page turned in a quiet room. The tremor is a sigh more than a shake, light, brief, almost shy. People pause, not in fear, only in attention, as if the earth is adding a small line to the evening story. We see faces remain easy, the jawline soft. You might imagine shoulders staying low, breath staying slow. A teacher places a palm on the step and nods as if to say, "I hear you." The canal takes the small sound and wears it thin, returning silence like a comfort. The city is exhaling like quiet water. The pause itself becomes soothing. Above, a bright star lifts a little earlier than the chart predicted. We see the stylus make a gentle adjustment, nothing urgent, just a tender update. You might imagine moving a bookmark by a finger's width and feeling everything line up again. Scholars once believed that such nights taught patience, that small shifts were invitations to slow down and notice. From a terrace, a family looks up together. Someone points and the gesture is unhurried. We see the youngest trace the pointing arm with their eyes, then find the star and hold it there. You might imagine the way your own gaze rests when it finds a steady point in the dark. The calm glow of the canals answers the sky, a second constellation at our feet. Another tremor, even softer, passes like a sigh through the stone. The cup does not ring this time, it only leans and rights itself, polite as a bow. We see a hand steady it anyway, an unnecessary kindness that still feels right. You might imagine smoothing a blanket that is already flat. The body understands that care is as much a practice as it is a need. A heron, unbothered, shifts one step along the quay and settles again. We see its long neck make a slow S, then lengthen, the motion a line you could breathe along. You might imagine your exhale flowing through that shape, long and unbroken. The soft breath of the tide slides beneath the bird and under the bridge, carrying moonlight with it. Teachers lean back and let the students lead. A small finger connects stars into a shape that looks like a boat. We see the shape mirrored on the canal, the water turning the boat into a silver path. You might imagine that path extending toward rest. The stylus taps the chart once, a quiet period at the end of a sentence. We see a thin cloud wander across the sky and soften the edges of the constellations. You might imagine vellum laid over a page, the text still there, only gentler. The tremor does not return. The earth feels content, and the sky continues its slow turn. Someone hums a note without words, and the note fits the night like a key in a well-made lock. Take a breath in and let it ease out. We see the chest move like the canal moves when the oar rises clean. No splash, only release. You might imagine your breath drawing a small arc under the ribs and finding a quiet shore. The charts fold with a soft sound, the kind silk makes when it meets itself. At the temple court, lamps are set low, their flames steady in the still air. We see a reader speak one line. Change is a patient guest. You might imagine opening a door to someone who removes their shoes without being asked. The line enters the room and sits in a spacious chair inside the mind. Nothing more is needed. Across the water, a bell answers the hour with one round tone. We see its echo touch the surfaces, wall, leaf, sleeve, and grow lighter each time. You might imagine the sound planting seeds that become silence. The city gathers that silence and shares it, house to house, stone to stone, breath to breath. If sleep is near, it may come now. If not, the night will hold you. We see the stars continue in their good order, the small differences folded into the whole. You might imagine the sky as a slow tide of light, always returning, never the same twice, always kind. The city, with you, exhales like quiet water. Let the next breath arrive on its own, and let the exhale lengthen as if it has nowhere to be. We see the room accept your quiet shape. You might imagine the stillness as a soft blanket, not heavy, just present, smoothing the edges of thought. We listen, not for news, not for answers, only for the sound of not needing to try. We see the pause open like a small harbor. You might imagine mooring lines loosen, a boat drifting a hand's breadth, then closing its eyes. Notice the jaw again. Let it soften. Notice the space behind the eyes. Let it widen a little. We see shoulders settle as if sand has found its level. You might imagine a tide inside the chest in and gently out. The motion, so even it disappears into comfort. Far off, a wind walks by without entering. We see the curtain stir a finger's width, then rest. You might imagine a hush that learns your name and says it once, quietly. The calm glow of canals stays in the mind, a lamp that requires nothing, offering only company. Scholars once believed that listening was a kind of wisdom all its own. We see how right that is here. You might imagine the stillness as a teacher with no voice, whose lesson is the relief of not having to move. If sleep takes your hand, follow. If not, stay and breathe like water finding a gentle shore. We rest together within the soft breath of the tides. Morning opens with a quieter blue, as if the city has taken a longer breath. We see elders gather in the shaded court, their steps unhurried, their eyes bright with the same calm we've known. You might imagine a circle of open hands, palms up, as plans are shared in soft voices, nothing urgent, nothing sharp, only kind roots, simple timings, care made visible. Bridges are checked and gently opened. Boats are readied with extra cushions and jars of fresh water. We see oars laid like sleeping branches along the gunwales. You might imagine the light touching the curve of each blade, a promise that movement can be quiet. Children arrive in twos, then in threes, their hands finding the hands that guide them. A laugh rises, then settles. Even laughter learns the hush of the day. Neighbors move through streets with an easy purpose. A jar is lifted to a cart. A folded cloth becomes a shade. We see doorposts touched as people pass, a small blessing for the rooms that have held them. You might imagine the cool of stone meet in the warm of skin, a goodbye that feels like gratitude. The ways are cleared with gentle words, no rush, only care. A potter places one last bowl on a shelf and smiles as if to say, "We will drink together again." Along the canals, water is widened into round, bright lagoons. Steps that were 5 stones to water are now 3. We see reflections arrive at doorways and pause, admiring before they drift on. You might imagine the city as a harp and the sea as fingers learning a new song, slow and sweet. The soft breath of the tides guides each step, the beat that keeps all movement tender. Elders mark the routes with simple ribbons tied to posts, blue for boats, white for footpaths. We see a ribbon lift in the mild air, then rest. You might imagine a map that anyone can read just by looking up. A baker hands a warm roll to a young guard and receives a nod that says both thanks and farewell. The calm glow of the canals stays steady, a lantern line through the morning. At the temple, a reader speaks one sentence, "We go together." We see heads incline, and the words fold into the body like a slow exhale. You might imagine how good it feels when a single line holds all you need. Healers carry small satchels and walk beside elders, pausing to check a wrist, to place a cup at ready lips. The city is exhaling like quiet water with each simple act. A heron lifts from a railing and follows the canals, a pale mark of grace in the blue. We see it settle on a higher mooring post and watch, untroubled. You might imagine your breath perched there too, steady and aware, taking in what changes with ease. Children in the front boats hold strings with little bells that do not ring. They press them to stillness and grin at their own skill. We see a man wrap a small bundle of seeds and hand it to his neighbor. You might imagine the weight, barely there, like a promise stored in the palm. A sculptor runs a thumb along a chisel's edge, then places it in a cloth roll, not to cut, only to rest. Doors are closed with care, latches set, shutters drawn halfway to hold the cool. Nothing is lost, everything is waiting in a different shape of time. Take a slow breath in. Let the exhale fall long, as if the body knows the path by heart. We see shoulders ease in the open air. You might imagine the world widening by a finger's width with each out-breath. Scholars once believed that gentleness was a form of strength. We see that lesson lived in every motion now. On the first bridge, a musician pauses and ties a small ribbon to the rail. No song is played. The gesture is the music. We see the ribbon's color match the sky near the horizon. You might imagine how signs can be soft and still be clear. The boats below wait like patient thoughts. lined in a curve that looks like a smile. The elders take their places at the bow of the leading boats. We see their hands open, then settle on the rails. You might imagine quiet oars dipping, lifting, and tracing the old rhythm in a new waterline. The soft breath of the tides keeps time. Shorelines lean closer, then farther, in a courteous exchange. At the edge of the market, stalls are folded, baskets stacked, scales tied with cord so they do not sway. We see a child press a palm to the stall's smooth plank as if to thank it. You might imagine wood remembering the warmth of 1,000 hands and keeping it for later. A thin bell sounds once, the note wide and kind, and the city answers by growing a little stiller. We see the first boats push away. They move like rest itself. You might imagine a page turning in a book you love, slow enough to read every margin. From balconies and steps, arms lift in blessing. No wave is large. The motion is a soft flutter, like leaves agreeing with a breeze. Bridges lower their ropes in greeting as boats pass beneath. We see shadows move over water like calm birds. You might imagine a path that makes itself where you look. Elders raise their chins to meet the light. Children lean into cushions, their eyes on the silver lines the oars leave. The city, with all of us, exhales like quiet water and begins its ceremonial descent. Homes begin to lift on quiet pilings, as if rising onto tiptoes to greet the widening water. We see doorframes meet their reflections and settle into the view. You might imagine a house learning to breathe with the tide, its floorboards easing with each gentle rise. A window opens, and a small curtain leans toward the light, then returns like a calm hello. Some homes, built for this moment, loosen their moorings and float with grace. We see lines untied by careful hands, knots remembered and released without haste. You might imagine the soft thud of bumper against dock, a conversation of wood and water that stays friendly. A mother touches a lintel, then smiles, not saying goodbye, only until later. Temples release their last firelight. We see priests lift cups and tilt them, letting the flames bow and go dim. You might imagine the way embers look when air steps back, orange turning to warm memory. The marble holds a pale glow, then gives it to the day. Steps that once sounded like bells now sound like breath. Streets become quiet streams. We see paving stones turn to faint squares beneath a clear surface. You might imagine walking there with your eyes, each stone a pause, each pause easy. A basket drifts past like a small moon, then finds a guiding hand and stops at the right boat. People glide, not driven, simply carried. The land lowers with grace, the way a hand lowers a sleeping child into a cradle. We see water rise like a slow song, steady notes stacking until they become harmony. You might imagine the city's balance shifting into the sea's open arms. The calm glow of the canals spreads, joining the ocean's broader light, a meeting of lamps across a blue hall. Boats move by bridge and quay, their wakes thin as silk. We see oars dip and lift with a practiced hush. You might imagine your breath in that rhythm, down, up, in, out, each stroke completing the last. Farewells carry like warm threads, soft words passing from step to stern, fingers touching the air where a shoulder just was. At a doorway close to the water, a grandfather raises his palm, and a child in a passing boat raises theirs in answer. We see the space between the hands glow for a moment, and then become sky again. You might imagine memory laying a gentle cloth over that instant, keeping it safe and light. The city is exhaling like quiet water, and we are moving with it. A musician holds a lute that does not play, the silence becoming the song. We see the curve of the instrument match the curve of the wake. You might imagine a note so soft it exists only as relief. A bell on a distant pier gives one low tone, and the tone spreads like shade. Temples' doors stand open as the first clear water visits their thresholds. We see lilies floating in bowls take on a wider pond, their petals untroubled. You might imagine thresholds learning to welcome tide as guest. A scroll is lifted and stored, not hidden, just higher, as if knowledge prefers a balcony today. Homes that float drift toward safe bays mapped days ago. We see lines thrown and caught with ease, no tug, no strain, just the soft catch of confidence. You might imagine the word ready spoken without sound. On the water, meals continue in smaller bowls. A ladle tilts, steam rises, laughter rests, and spoons ring once. Take a slow breath in and let it lengthen out. We see shoulders deepen their ease. You might imagine the exhale as a line the oar leaves, silver for a heartbeat, then clear again. The soft breath of the tides keeps time, the city choosing to follow rather than lead. Gardens fold under clear water and keep their grace. We see herbs wave like gentle hands, fronds learning the language of currents. You might imagine roots relaxing into coolness. A turtle noses along a low wall, as if helping count the new stones. Statues gaze through the calm surface, their faces softened by light. We see their features find a second life in the water's lens. You might imagine their calm as your own. A string of glass floats, clinks with a delicate patience, a kindness of sound that knows how to wait. Neighbors in nearby boats trade small gifts, a jar of olives for a coil of rope, a blanket for a song hummed close. We see no ledger, only balance. You might imagine the sea keeping score in ripples that cancel each other kindly. Elders speak the simple line, "We go together," and the water seems to nod. Overhead, gulls wheel without urgency, their calls softened by distance. We see wings catch light and fold it back to the waves. You might imagine each circle as a gentle punctuation, a comma that lets the moment breathe. The bridges, now taller to the boats, cast kind shade and lift like lifted brows, curious and serene. As boats pass the outer arches, the city behind becomes a shimmer, not gone, just gentled by light and water. We see the horizon open a little more. You might imagine the feeling when a room's door is wide and the hallway beyond is blue. The calm glow of the canals has become the ocean's sheen. The city, still breathing with us, exhales like quiet water and drifts into the broader song. Gardens fold under clear water with a grace that feels like gratitude. We see rows of herbs turn to soft, swaying threads, waving as if to greet the new guest who will be staying. You might imagine dill and fennel drawing gentle loops in a slow current, each frond learning the ocean's calm handwriting. Leaves that once held dew now hold silver light, and the change is peaceful. Streets turn into streams, and streams open to clear blue paths. We see familiar corners soften as edges blur, the way a memory grows kinder at the edges. You might imagine walking with your eyes where feet once walked, the new path smooth, inviting, and free of demand. Where bricks showed their neat lines, water lays a seamless page, and the day writes on it with light. Statues learn a new language without moving at all. We see their eyes, once filled with air and sun, now filled with calm water that deepens their gaze. You might imagine their patience as a promise. What is cared for continues, though it changes its room. A carved hand that blessed the square now blesses a quiet shoal, and that blessing carries farther than before. Doorways welcome a different guest. We see thresholds touched by the sea with care, as if the tide removes its sandals before entering. You might imagine the line where water meets stone as a slow conversation that never needs to finish. Rooms that kept heat now keep cool, and that cool holds peace, like a soft jar holds an easy flame. The calm glow of the canals joins the ocean's wider sheen. We see the city's lamps enter a larger hall of light. Nothing is lost, only shared. You might imagine a choir where the solo becomes part of a broad, tender harmony. Reflections that once belonged to one wall now belong to the horizon, and the horizon is generous. Final boats trace slow arcs across the broadened blue. We see oars lift and drip thin threads that stitch the morning to the afternoon. You might imagine each stroke as a long exhale, the city breathing out through quiet wood. Voices bless the water in brief lines. Thank you for the home you are. Thank you for the home you make. A bell, not rung but touched, offers a round tone that stays close to the surface and then settles. We see the note become a ring of small ripples that meet a lily set free from its bowl. You might imagine the lily recognizing its new pond and relaxing its white hands. Scholars once believed that rituals are doors. Today, each gentle act opens one. Banners loosen from high places and become streamers on the wind, then settle to rest on the water like soft birds. We see color drift, then fold into the blue, a kindness of hue. You might imagine the way a memory releases its weight and keeps its warmth. The soft breath of the tides is everywhere, guiding, never pressing. Bridges, now more arch than road, gaze at their own reflections and smile. We see shadows knit with waves, a pattern that does not ask to be named. You might imagine your breath doing the same, weaving with the moment. People in boats lean their shoulders against the cushions, not from fatigue, but because sinking into softness is wise. Take a slow breath in and let it pour out longer than you expected. We see the chest follow the sea's lesson with ease. You might imagine your exhale as a thin silver wake that fades into clarity. The city is exhaling like quiet water, and every listener is included. At the outer edge, where canal becomes open ocean, a marker stone once stood with tide carvings on its face. We see that stone tip and rest on a new bed, its record now read by fish and light. You might imagine numbers turning into glitter, knowledge translated into shimmer. Nothing is erased, it is written in another script. Seagrass writes soft sentences along stairways. We see each blade bow and rise, like readers agreeing with the text. You might imagine a book that breathes when you turn its pages. Turtles pass doorways like thoughtful visitors, pausing then gliding on. Their shells carry dawn in quiet patches. We see two neighbors in drifting boats exchange a last glance at the old market's roofline as it grows faint beneath a calm surface. You might imagine them both understanding, without words, that the roof still shelters. Only now it shelters fish. A small laugh appears, not from humor, but from relief, the way a long-held breath ends. Windows that held the day now hold the sea. We see glass become a lens where small silver schools pass in unison, as tidy as morning bread on a tray. You might imagine the view as an offered nap, a scene that asks nothing but receives your gaze with gratitude. Light breaks into scales, then mends into blue again. From a high terrace, a final ribbon is lifted by the mild wind and laid gently onto the water. We see it float as a grateful line, a signature ending a graceful letter. You might imagine these gestures as the soul of ceremony, quiet, careful, exact enough to comfort. Scholars once believed that the right pace could pacify the nervous system. This pace is that belief, lived. The horizon opens like a slow door. We see the city's outline soften behind us, not vanishing, simply blending with air and wave. You might imagine the feeling when a lullaby reaches its last line and does not insist on a repeat. The calm glow of the canals shines now inside, a steady lamp the sea cannot dim. A long exhale leaves the boats as one, unplanned and perfect. We see shoulders settle and eyes drift to half-closed. You might imagine quiet becoming a shore. The island, patient and dignified, becomes ocean with a bow. The ocean receives it as kin. We see, we feel, and we rest in the soft breath of the tides. Now we drift under, where light walks with soft feet. We see the sea turn the city into a dream that breathes. You might imagine sunbeams arriving like long ribbons, wavering kind. Columns wear coral sleeves, arches dress in slow gardens. The quiet here has texture, a hum you feel more than hear. Currents sing a low choir. We see sand lift and settle in silver veils, like sighs that learn to dance. You might imagine thoughts doing the same, rising, glittering, then resting again. Fish glide by in calm groups, turning together with the ease of one mind at peace. A turtle moves through an open doorway and does not hurry. Light gathers on mosaic stones and loosens their colors into milk and pearl. We see patterns blur into comfort. You might imagine memory softening its edges until it welcomes sleep. Scholars once believed that the sea keeps stories. The hush here suggests they were right. We do not pry, we listen. Let the breath arrive, let the exhale lengthen, soft and sure. We see bubbles rise like tiny bells that never need to ring. You might imagine your breath doing the same, lifting gently, leaving quietly. The city is exhaling like quiet water beneath quiet water, a layered calm. We rest together in this blue room. We see how even ruins can soothe when the sea holds them. You might imagine the ocean's palm under your back, broad and patient. If sleep wants you, let it take your hand. If you are not yet ready, stay with the soft breath of the tides and drift. We drift along a gentle aisle where columns wear coral sleeves and the sea has dressed every edge in softness. We see carvings rounded into kindness by years of water's touch. You might imagine fingertips brushing those shapes and finding no sharpness, only the memory of lines. Fish pass like drifting petals, pale and unafraid, their small fins writing quiet sentences in the blue. Light gathers on mosaic floors and loosens into milk and pearl. We see tiny tiles release their strict borders and melt into a calm glow that feels like forgiveness. You might imagine kneeling there and watching colors breathe, as though the room itself had learned a slower pulse. Sand moves in fine silver veils, lifting and laying itself down with a sigh you can almost hear. Doorways stand open to the tide, each one a mouth that speaks in water. We see rooms filled with calm light, chairs turned to shapes of seagrass, shelves now ledges for resting fish. You might imagine the sound of a page turning made of bubbles. The soft breath of the tides brushes every stone, a touch that is constant and kind, an endless hand smoothing blankets. Arches keep their grace. We see them hold up nothing but light and time, and that seems plenty. You might imagine walking under them as they were, then as they are, the steps slower in this blue hall. Scholars once believed the sea remembers, and we can feel it here. A memory that does not insist, a memory that cradles rather than clings. A school of silver fish gathers near a fallen lintel and pivots as one, then scatters like a sigh. We see the lintel wrapped in soft moss, no weight of history pressing, only rest. You might imagine history learning to float. A small octopus explores a niche where a lamp once rested, arms tasting the story with delicate care. We move past a courtyard where a round basin has become a round meadow. We see anemones opening and closing in a simple breath, seagrass swaying in slow agreement. You might imagine the city's old gardens teaching these new ones how to be tender without effort. The light above wavers, a quiet ceiling that changes with the wind far away. Take a slow breath in and let it soften out. We see the water accept your rhythm as if it had been waiting for it. You might imagine your exhale rising as a strand of small pearls, invisible and perfect. The city is exhaling like quiet water beneath this deeper hush, a double calm that eases the edges of thought. Along a colonnade, statues watch with softened eyes. We see their faces mottled with bright lace where sunbeams play. You might imagine those eyes learning patience from the tide itself. A turtle lifts to meet a beam of light, holds still as if being painted, then drifts on, carrying the moment like a gentle badge. Mosaics along a wall tell a story now softened into rhythm. Waves, boats, a line of hands. We see the figures blur into motion, the motion blur into calm. You might imagine the story leaving words behind and becoming feeling. A ray glides over the scene, winging its way like a slow thought moving from one quiet room to another. Here and there, a doorway frames the open sea like a window inside a dream. We see beyond the streets that were, out to the blue that always is. You might imagine your gaze crossing that threshold without effort, the mind widening by a soft step. The calm glow that once belonged to the canals settles in the water itself, a lantern within the sea. We pass a staircase where each step is a different shade of time. We see small shells gathered in neat crescents along the risers, as if arranging themselves for a ceremony that never hurries to begin. You might imagine attending that ceremony by simply breathing. The soft breath of the tides is the usher, the host, the song. A gentle current moves down an avenue and turns the corner like a polite guest finding the kitchen. We see silt lift, sparkle, and rest again, as though dusting the memory of the city with light. You might imagine thoughts doing the same, stirring, glimmering, settling in better places. Scholars once believed that balance lives at the pace of water. Everything here agrees. Let another breath arrive, and let it lengthen on the way out. We see arches at rest, pillars content, rooms content, our bodies content. You might imagine a blue quilt laid over your shoulders, its weight exactly right. In these ruins, nothing pleads, everything allows. The sea holds, time softens, and we drift within a kindness that asks nothing in return. We drift into a lane where light gathers like a hush, and the faint glow along old walls looks as if the moon has moved under the waves. We see a soft radiance breathe from stone to stone. You might imagine evening settled here forever, warm and blue. Anemones open and close with the slow patience of sleep, their petals learning the tide's syllables. Seagrass writes its long, forgiving script along thresholds, bowing and rising in a simple dance. We see narrow fronds stroke the air and then smooth it. You might imagine reading those lines with the skin rather than the eyes. Small fish thread the shadows like quiet stitches, mending the edges of rooms that ask nothing. A doorway frames a garden that now moves. We see columns dressed in low garlands of moss, and between them, ribbons of eel pass as if telling a calm joke only the water hears. You might imagine laughter that is only a loosened breath. On a ledge, a cluster of shells turns the light into soft coins, spending brightness slowly across the floor. A gentle creature, a turtle with a shell patterned like a woven rug, drifts past an arch and pauses. We see it hover as if reading the currents, then tip one fin and continue. You might imagine time wearing a friendly face. The city is exhaling like quiet water through every open mouth of stone, lending rest to anything near. Faint glows bloom where plaster once held paint. We see murals smoothed into tone, the figures now more feeling than form. You might imagine standing in that soft gallery and letting the memory of color wash the mind. A ray slides along the wall, wings moving as if waving hello to the past. The moving garden tends itself. We see urchins graze with patient mouthings, a slow caretaking that leaves paths of clean rock behind. You might imagine a broom made of tide and patience. Sea cucumbers rest like commas between clauses of light, reminding the eye to pause. The calm glow along the lanes keeps company without asking for attention. A high window has become a bell of brightness. We see sun pour through in a quiet cone and settle on a broken step. You might imagine your breath stepping there too, placing, pausing, placing again. Schooling fish drift into the light, turn as one, and drift out, a soft doorway opening and closing without a hinge. We pass a garden court, whose beds are now bouquets of feathered weed. We see their fronds sway in slow answer to a current that speaks kindly. You might imagine the wind in tall grass, gentled into water. A small crab arranges pebbles at the base of a pillar, a careful geometry that looks like play. We see precision without pressure. Along a corridor, the glow thickens, as if the sea has hung a lantern inside the walls. We see the hue shift from milk to pearl, from pearl to pale gold, and back again. You might imagine a heartbeat made of light. The soft breath of the tides threads through an empty window, and curtains of algae lift and lower like a sighing veil. Take a slow breath in and let it wander out with ease. We see bubbles climb from an unseen crevice, small bells that never ring. You might imagine placing a thought there and watching it rise until it becomes part of the blue. Scholars once believed that light and water teach the same lesson at different speeds. Here, both teachers stand together. A statue half folded in sand holds a bowl now home to a little meadow. We see anemones nested like polite guests, opening their soft hands to the passing light. You might imagine the old ritual returning in a new form. The bowl still offers, the sea still receives. A slender eel loops the rim and disappears, leaving a brief silver ribbon behind. The moving garden reaches a stairwell and turns it into a cascade of leaves. We see each step wear a different shade of green, a soft scale you could hum. You might imagine singing there with only your breath. The faint glow collects at the landing and spills forward in a thin stream, lighting the path for small travelers with quiet jobs. A doorway opens onto the open sea, a window of widening blue. We see how the city's edges meet the ocean's broad patience without a seam. You might imagine your gaze ease across that threshold and become wider, lighter. The calm glow that once traced the canals now lives in the water itself, a lantern carried by every wave. A pair of dolphins passes in the distance, soft arcs that do not disturb the settled hush. We see their backs catch a pale edge of light, then slip back into shade. You might imagine a smile arriving without a reason. Everything here moves enough to remain alive and rests enough to feel like home. Let another breath arrive, and let the exhale lengthen until it feels like a kindly tide going out. We see the garden continue its slow work, opening, closing, bowing, rising, an order without orders. You might imagine the city nodding in its sleep, grateful for the sea's careful hands. We rest in the moving garden, where the faint glow writes calm on every surface, and the soft breath of the tides turns pages no one needs to rush to finish. At night, along quiet coasts, we hear of voices that speak softly about these waters. We see two sailors lean on a rail and let the dark be their friend. You might imagine the sea breathing like a cat on a windowsill, present, warm, untroubled. Legends say that on certain calm nights, chimes rise from the deep as if a bell were rung once and allowed to wander. We see the sound widen and thin until it becomes part of the air. You might imagine hearing that note only as peace settling in your chest. Scholars once believed such tales held gentle truths, and listening feels like agreement. There are stories of a faint blue road laid upon the water, a sheen that appears when the moon is kind. We see a line of light where the oars will not disturb it. You might imagine walking that road with your breath, heel to toe, slow and sure. The calm glow of the canals, they say, found a way to visit the surface when the world is quiet enough to notice. Another tale speaks of a hush that arrives with the tide and lingers in the rigging, making every rope a string on an instrument that prefers silence. We see sails relax and masts stop their small complaints. You might imagine your thoughts doing the same, slackening until they rest just right. Let a breath come, and let it go long. We see lanterns sway once, then hold still. You might imagine the deck remembering footsteps and then deciding to keep them as dreams. The sea, the stories, the listeners, they share one pace. If sleep wants to board, there is room. If it waits, the night will keep watch in the soft breath of the tides. An ancient room opens in the mind, quiet as a library at dawn. We see a figure lean over a waxed tablet, the stylus moving with patient care. You might imagine the sound as a soft scratch that never hurries. An old story is set down, a far island with glowing canals, a people who live gently, a sea that welcomed them home. Scholars once believed that such writing was a kind of lantern, and the light keeps traveling. The tale moves from ear to ear, from mouth to page, from page to voice again. We see a circle by a hearth, shadows steady on white walls, words rising like steam from a simple pot. You might imagine how warmth makes listening easier. A line is spoken, then repeated a little softer, like an echo learning to be kind. The calm glow of the canals returns as a memory of care, a lamp everyone can share. In a stone courtyard, a teacher retells the story to a small class. We see the teacher's hand draw a ring within a ring, water and land in friendly rounds. You might imagine the chalk leaving a pale trail that brushes the air. Children watch, and the shape teaches before the mouth does. The soft breath of the tides leaves the board as a curve the mind keeps. As years fold, the script changes clothes. We see papyrus become parchment, parchment become paper, each sheet accepting the same gentle weight of meaning. You might imagine a line of pages like stepping stones across a shallow stream. The foot is never wet, the message crosses clean. A copyist pauses, lifts the brush, and breathes, letting the ink become itself again. On a quiet night, a reader speaks to friends. We see lamps set low, their flames without need to prove they are flames. You might imagine the words stepping from the page as if they have practiced for this moment. The voice says that the island is not a warning, but a mirror held at the right angle. We see what balance looks like when it sits down and stays. Scribes in another age bind the tale with other careful thoughts. We see margins filled with soft notes, not corrections, companions. You might imagine meeting a book that invites you to walk beside it instead of behind it. Scholars once believed the myth carried a lesson of modest power and gentle rule, and every time the story rests on a desk, that lesson sits beside it like a friendly cup. Across lands, the telling changes accent but not heart. We see the canals glow translated into words that fit new mouths. You might imagine light poured from one bowl into another, none of it spilled. In seaside towns, the legend rides with fishermen who nod as if they know something about kindly tides. On market days, a traveling voice shares the island as if it were a recipe for calm. There are halls where the story stands at the front and bows. We see listeners lean without realizing, the way a plant leans toward sun. You might imagine your own posture softening at the name of water. A line that once guided boats now guides breath. We go together. The room inhales as one and releases as one, and the lesson is learned without effort. Later, printing presses breathe in steady rhythm. We see pages arrive like small waves, each one bearing the same peaceful shore. You might imagine stacks of quiet blue tied with string. A book finds a bedstand, and a reader, tired and hopeful, opens to the part where the city becomes ocean, slowly, ceremonially, and still feels like home. Stories travel farther when they move at the pace of kindness. We see the myth cross oceans in trunks, then in pockets, then in memory. You might imagine a seam of comfort stitched across maps. New listeners shape the ending to suit their evenings. Some hear caution, many hear comfort. Both are held gently by the sea that keeps them. A modern room glows with a soft screen, brightness lowered. We see a listener settle under a quiet blanket and choose the old tale again. You might imagine the voice arriving like a tide in miniature, touching the shore of the mind and then drawing back with care. Scholars once believed the purpose was balance. We see how it endures. Take a slow breath in and let it ease out. We see how the line of this myth has threaded through years unbroken because it was woven to soothe. You might imagine your breath joining that long ribbon, simple and sure. The calm glow of the canals shines now as a memory anyone can borrow. The soft breath of the tides is the same in every century. If sleep wants to meet you here, let it. If not, rest in the knowledge that the story will keep breathing for you, quietly, faithfully, like water finding level. We see the page, the voice, the room, the sea, all parts of one gentle lineage. You might imagine writing a note only in thought. I am held. The tide answers, I know. We see how the myth sets a soft table where wisdom sits with simple bread and clear water. You might imagine a bowl passed from hand to hand, each palm warmed by the same offering. Wisdom here is not a shout. It is a steady light that helps you find the cup in the dark. Scholars once believed that quiet knowledge lasts longest. Listening agrees. We see humility take a seat beside wisdom, knees unhurried, eyes kind. You might imagine lowering your voice until the room itself relaxes. Humility in this tale is not smallness, it is the right size for belonging. It remembers that land and sea share the same doorway and that every threshold is crossed both ways with care. Balance arrives without ceremony and becomes the rhythm everything keeps. You might imagine holding a smooth stone in one hand and a soft leaf in the other, feeling how the body settles between them. The calm glow of the canals was balance made visible, light walking with water. The soft breath of the tides is balance made audible, time breathing with us. We see how the story points toward kind living, shared water, shared labor, shared rest. You might imagine placing a loaf where many hands can reach it. In the tale, skill serves gentleness. Tools do not boast. They simply work and then rest, the way oars leaned quiet along the gunwales. The city is exhaling like quiet water each time a task ends softly. We see pride set down like a heavy jar return to the cool floor. You might imagine your shoulders lowering when you no longer carry what you do not need. Humility lifts kinder hands in its place, hands that guide children onto boats, hands that close shutters without hurry, hands that tie a ribbon on a rail so others can find their way with ease. Wisdom in the island's way is paced. You might imagine an elder's sentence that ends when meaning ends, not when sound runs out. It knows when to plan and when to let the sea teach. Scholars once believed that patience is a kind of intelligence. The island's slow passage answered, "We see." Balance learns its shape from water. We see how the tide sets the day's edges and the people shape themselves gently to fit. You might imagine a quiet promise. I will meet the world where it meets me. A house on pilings, a bridge that bows to boats, a door that welcomes tide. Each is a lesson you can feel. Humility bows to time. We see statues accept a new lens of light without losing their gaze. You might imagine your own story softening at the corners while holding its heart. To bow is not to break, it is to remain whole in a kinder shape. The island became ocean the way a kneeling figure becomes prayer. We see that wisdom shares. A jar of olives for a coil of rope, a blanket for a song hummed close, balance measured in warmth instead of sums. You might imagine the sea keeping the ledger in ripples that cancel gently. The calm glow spreads when hands open. The soft breath of the tides grows clearer when voices quiet together. Take a slow breath in and let it ease out longer than before. We see how the body understands these meanings before words do. You might imagine your exhale laying a light cloth over the day. Wisdom, humility, balance. Each arrives as relief, the way shade finds a warm step at noon. We see wisdom walk with care for the earth. Gardens fold into water and remain gardens in another language. You might imagine tending with patience instead of control, watering when thirsty, resting when sated. Humility thanks thresholds for standing, thanks bridges for bending, thanks boats for carrying, thanks water for holding. Balance holds room for joy. We see children press bells to stillness and grin at their own gentle skill. You might imagine laughter that does not shove. In a careful world, small delights ring once inside and then rest. The city is exhaling like quiet water whenever joy arrives without taking space from anyone else. Scholars once believed the myth offered a compass, not a map. We see how true that feels. No arrow pointing hard, only a calm alignment. You might imagine a needle that finds north because it is allowed to settle. Wisdom points toward kindness. Humility points toward belonging. Balance points toward breath. We see how these meanings travel well. In any room, a lowered voice can make peace. In any task, a pace that fits the heart can keep gentleness intact. You might imagine your day as a canal at dusk, light on water guiding your steps. The calm glow lives inside now. The soft breath of the tides is your steady metronome. Take one more slow breath in. Let it pour out like a tide going home. We see the lessons neither demand nor fade. You might imagine placing them like 3 small stones beside your bed. Wisdom, humility, balance. They hold the night without weight, and together, with you, the story exhales like quiet water. We see how the sea calls to calm. You might imagine wide blue space giving the mind room to loosen. The calm glow of the canals becomes an inner lamp. You carry it the way one carries warmth from a cup. Scholars once believed gentle stories pacify the nervous system. Listening now, we feel how true that is. We dream of cities where care is daily and light is warm. You might imagine small tasks finished with kindness, the city exhaling like quiet water after each one. The soft breath of the tides becomes your metronome. Inhale, exhale, an easy rhythm that steadies thought without effort. When nights feel long, we keep simple images: a ribbon tied to a rail, a boat waiting with soft cushions, a bell that rings once, then rests. You might imagine these as anchors that do not pull, only hold. We see how the story chooses ceremony over urgency, and our bodies answer by easing. Comfort comes from belonging. You might imagine being greeted at every threshold, land meeting sea, breath meeting body. The island became ocean without fear. We feel invited to change without strain. The glow that traced the canals now traces the inside of the chest, a light that asks nothing. We see how calm travels by example. A single voice slows, then a room slows, then the night. You might imagine your breath teaching the pillow to soften. Scholars once believed balance is contagious. Kindness proves it. Take a slow breath in. Let the exhale lengthen, as if time widens to make space for it. We see your shoulders settle by their own wisdom. You might imagine a shoreline accepting every wave and returning every wave, patient and sure. This is why the legend comforts. It keeps pace with peace. Gentle waves fold and unfold. We see lanterns along the pier sway once, then hold. You might imagine sand cool underfoot, the day's heat leaving like a friendly guest. Distant chimes drift, thin as moonlight. We see the sky lean closer, stars blinking with unhurried care. You might imagine your breath as a tide in miniature, arriving, bowing, returning, each cycle quieter than the last. A breeze moves through dune grass with a whisper that knows your name. We see the sea write soft lines that erase themselves kindly. You might imagine placing a thought on the wet sand and watching it smooth into shine. Let a breath come. Let it wander out longer. We see the horizon blur into a single gentle edge. You might imagine your body becoming shoreline, still, welcoming, sure. The calm glow of the canals lives here, is low light on water. The city is exhaling like quiet waves, and you are within that breath. We see the night keep watch. You might imagine sleep arriving like a small boat, unannounced, exactly on time. Soft outro and fade to rest. You may drift off at any moment now. We see the night hold you the way calm water holds a leaf. You might imagine a soft blue hush settling over the room, steady and kind. You are safe. You are at rest. Let a slow breath arrive, and let the exhale lengthen, gentle and unforced. We see the shoulders soften by their own wisdom. You might imagine the soft breath of the tides moving through you. arriving, bowing, returning. If a thought comes, let it pass like a small boat across a quiet bay. We see it glide from one edge of the mind to the other and fade into open blue. You might imagine the city's calm glow now as a light within the chest, warm and low. The bed holds you as the sea held the island, completely, patiently. We see blankets become shoreline, meeting you exactly where you are. You might imagine rest spreading like moonlight over still water, even and easy. Take one more slow breath in and let it pour out longer than before. We see the room grow softer at the edges. You might imagine lanterns along a pier dimming to the perfect glow. The night keeps watch. If sleep wants you now, let it. If it waits, stay with the rhythm that asks for nothing. We see the day fold itself neatly. You might imagine placing it on a quiet shelf. The calm glow of the canals and the soft breath of the tides continue within you. There's nothing to do, no choice to make, only this gentle breath. We see, we listen, we rest. The door to sleep is open, wide and welcoming. Step through whenever you like.